press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, welcome back to your English class. We were talking about Mara in the lesson Watchman of the Lake by R.K. Narayan. So today we'll continue it and we'll possibly finish all the three remaining scenes that are there, 3, 4 and 5, because 5 is a very short scene. Alright, now to give you a small recap, what has happened? Mara had been imprisoned and then he escaped and he came and he met the king and he told his dream. Once he told his dream, the king said, I'm going to take you to my capital. And the king said, my command is very clear. Mara says, I obey. And that's where we stopped in the previous class. So Mara is being invited to the capital of the king to come along with the king. The next day they are coming on the visit on that way. Alright, follow your copies on page 68. We will continue. Scene 3. Many years later, Mara standing before his hut on the bank of a vast lake. There is a mingled noise of wavelets breaking up the shore, cries of gulls and rustling of tree leaves. So, many years later, okay, so many years have passed by now. Mara is standing before his hut, okay, in front of his hut, on the bank of that lake, the Veda that is flowing there. Then, there is a lot of noise here and there. On the shore there are birds moving, there are leaves that are rustling here and there. It's a lot of noise. See Mara who is sitting there. Okay. Mara, boy, little man, Ganga. Now Mara has a son in this scene, okay. His name was mentioned earlier to you, Ganga. A distant voice, Father, I am coming. Mara, where are you gone, little man? So the boy says, I am coming, and father asks, where did you go? Ganga, here I am, father. You are shouting as if something or the other had happened. I was only behind that tree watching. So Ganga tells his father, why are you shouting like something bad has happened? I was standing behind the tree and watching something. What were you watching? Ganga, there is a man fishing in the lake. So Ganga tells the father that there is a man fishing in the lake and I was standing behind the tree to see that man. Mara, fishing? Fishing? Where? They run, okay, and the son also follows. Hey man, get up. What are you doing here? So Mara tells that man, get up man, what are you doing here? That man, nothing. Mara, nothing? Then why that rod and hook in your hand? And how did all the fish come into your basket? Did they walk in while you were watching the sky? Go man, go before you are pushed into the lake. Now Mara is saying, how come you have nothing? There you have the hook and the rod to catch the fish and the fish is there in your basket. How did they come? Did they walk and come to your basket? Or is it you who caught them? So he says, go man, go before I push you into the lake. Man, no, I was not catching fish. I speak the truth. He says, I was not catching fish, I am speaking the truth. Mara, I have been a watchman of this lake for years and I have come across hundreds of storytellers like you. This is my last warning to you. If I see you again with that rod and hook, I will push you into the water and the fish will feed on you. So he says, for many years I have been the watchman of the lake. What are you telling me? I have listened to a lot of storytellers like you, hundreds of storytellers like you, and this is my last warning. In case I find you back again catching fish, I am going to push you in the lake and the fish is going to feed on you. Do you understand? Now here go your fish back where they belong. Do you see my son? So they empty the basket and put the fish back into the lake. Now Mara asks his son, did you see what I did? Did you understand what I did? When I am gone, you will be the guard here. This is what you must do with killers. whether they come with arrow for gulls which skim over the water or with the rod for fish. Okay, so whether if there are like people who will coming to destroy certain things here, Mara says, when I'm going to die, son, you're going to become the watchman of the lake, and you also should do something similar, where you should not let anyone destroy the fish, destroy the gulls who come and just skim around to catch anything or drink water, not to harm anybody who comes. This place is sacred and belongs to the goddess, and her command, now this you must remember, and her command is nothing that flies or swims or walks on those parts should ever be killed. Now what does he say? This place is very sacred and it belongs to the goddess, and what was her command? Anything that flies, swims or walks in these parts should never be killed. You shouldn't kill anybody who is swimming here, who is walking here, and who is flying over here. That means the birds, the fishes, and people around, or any animal around. From my hut I have often seen at dead of night a tiger come down from the mountain, slacking its thirst at the distant corner. But even that has to go untouched. Such is the command of the goddess and the king. Now begone, you fish. Now he says, there is a tiger that comes at night who wants to quench its thirst. He's coming down from the mountain there. Even that tiger who is coming to quench the thirst should not come and touch the water, or it should also go untouched. Okay, that is, you shouldn't be killing that. Late at night, dead at night is late at night, a tiger is coming, but even you're not supposed to kill that. Do its work and go. Now this lake is built for the benefit of the villagers, isn't it? So the tiger shouldn't be killed. It's not that the tiger could not drink water, but the tiger shouldn't be killed. Okay. Man, you are after all only a watchman. You're not the master of this place. Are you not taking upon yourself more than your duty? So the man says, you're just a poor watchman of the lake. Why are you taking so much of responsibility, doing and acting as if everything is yours? So he says, you're doing more than your duty. Are you not doing more than just taking care of the lake? Okay. Mara, I am the master of this place. The king made me so. But for me, Veda would have run away and disappeared as she was doing before. So he says, it's because of me that the king built this lake, because the goddess came in my dream, and I am the master of this place because the king has told me to take care of it. So I take all responsibility and I take all duty to look after that Veda. If not, I would have, if I wouldn't have told the king, the Veda would run away and she would disappear, not giving us anything. It is I who gave her a home where she stays and nourishes the cornfields of thousands of a king's subjects. So what does Mara say? I gave her a home. She was flowing down there, but I gave her a place of shelter. I did it. So he's being too much into taking the responsibility or taking the credit for himself. Say, I did it, okay? Let's see what his I did it is going to take him on. Now he says, I gave her a shelter, I nourished her over here, and that is why it's easily feeding over or easily helping thousands of king's subjects, thousands of king's people. Now look along the bank. Do you note in the length? Do you note length? Do you note its length? So it says, look around the bank of the lake there. Can you see the length of the lake? A fling from the longest sling will not take that stone to the other end of the bank, and I, by the king's order, watched every stone where this bank was built. Okay. Now, that is, basic meaning is, this stone that's there over here will be not taken to the other side. So the Mara says, that is the amount of responsibility I have taken, or I have been so careful with taking care of this lake that one stone also goes untouched and not unmoved. And I open the gates that let the water into the fields. So he says, I am the one who opens the gate so that the water goes into the fields. I know how much to give and when to stop, and I tend to tend the lake and see that it's not polluted by man or beast. So he says, I know how much of water should go to the fields. I know where I have to let the gates, where I have to stop it. So I am the one taking the responsibility, and I'm also taking care of it so much that I'm not allowing it to be polluted by any man or any beast. Okay. Even that headman of the village, who once begged and believed me, will have to beg my permission if he wants to touch the water. So he says the village headman would beaten me up earlier. Even if he wants to come and touch the water in this lake, he has to ask my permission. Who is that? My Mara. Here I am the king, no one can question me. He says, I am the king for the lake here, no one can question me of anything regarding the lake. Now go away. I have spoken to you more than you deserve. So he says, now you finish. He tells the man, now you go away. I think I have spoken to you more than what I had to already speak. Now little fellow, my son, you see that man there taking his cow to the water's edge. Now he's telling the son, can you see the man, one other man there who's taking his cow to the water edge? Run on and tell him not to take it there. It is very deep at this spot. So he tells the son, go to that man and tell that the spot there in that water is very deep. Okay, if his cow slips, warn him to move off a little, go on. So he says a cow may slip and fall, go and warn that man at the edge of the water. Then a visitor, Mara. Oh brother, when did you come? Visitor, just this moment. I left my village at sundown yesterday and I walked without a pause. So he says a visitor who has left his village after sundown, okay, after the sun sets yesterday, and then he has walked without giving a break. Mara, come into my hut and have some food. There is bound to be something you can munch, though nothing very good. My wife is away. I and my son are running the house. So he says, you can come inside and have some food. Maybe you will get something little to eat. You can munch around whatever is there, because my wife is not at home. She is away, and my son and I am running the house. Visitor, I have come all the way to ask a favor of you. He says, I have come till here just to visit you, and I want a favor from you. You know, our village is the farthest in our king's domain, and crops parch up and cattle are dying of drought. Now he says, the place that I have come from is the kingdom, or is the village that is very far off to the king's capital. And the crops that are there, they're all drying up, and the cattle are dying of drought. So there is absolutely no water facility there, because it is the farthest. That kingdom or that village is far away from this kingdom. Will you give us some water? He says, can you give us some water? Certainly, brother, it is here for all the king's subjects to take. Tomorrow I will come with you and see where you can lay the channels, and as soon as you have done it, the water is yours. It will be let to you according to the law laid down by the king. So Mara agrees to let the water into that village and take away their difficulty of drought. So he says, this water is there for all the king's subjects. Tomorrow I'll come with you to the village. Let me see where we can put channels for water to pass away. Okay? And after that is done, according to the king's rule, I shall let water to you. Do you notice the heart of the lake muddy? So the lake there in between heart of the lake is getting filled with a lot of mud. It's okay, muddy. It was sapphire like a moment ago. Just clear, crystal clear, just a moment ago. See those clouds at the mountain top. There is heavy rain there. So you can see the mountain there where the goddess lies and where the Veda is starting and Sanjeevani is found. So he says clouds are looking very heavy there, and I think there is a heavy downpour there. Veda is swelling and carrying mud and flood into the lake. So Veda has been coming down now, and Veda is coming down with a lot of mud and just gushing water, so that this lake is also getting filled with mud. I must keep an eye on her tonight. Boy, come here, let us go in. I fear there will be heavy rain on us soon. So the clouds are going to come this way and we are also going to get heavy rain. The weather is already getting polluted because of mud here, because the mud is flowing down from the mountain. Alright, so it's going to rain over here in Mara's place, and we'll see what's going to happen. Scene 4. Scene 3 is over. Scene 4. Okay. Follow your copies on page 72. Late at night, a torrential downpour and a shrieking storm. The king's palace, the bell at the palace gate ringing instantly. Instantly, okay? So what's happening here? Very late in the night, torrential is heavy rain that is happening, and there is storm that is going on. The king's palace, now the scene is in the king's palace. The bell of the palace is ringing continuously, okay? King, who is so urgently summoning me at this hour? Who wants to see me at this hour of the night? What has happened in this terrible night of the storm? Go down and see who it is. So the king orders one of the fellows to go and see who is ringing the bell like that continuously. That too when it's raining heavily, when there's a lot of storm, and at the middle of the night, who wants to come? The bell ceases and sound of footsteps, okay? So sound of footsteps going for. Who are you, man? What has happened to you? What has happened that you should be calling us at this hour? Why are you gasping so badly? So the king, what are you doing, man, here? Who are you? Why are you breathing so heavily like that? Okay, gasping. That is, you're not able to utter your words. So why are you coming at this hour of the night? Man, I have been running. King, in this storm? Who are you? What has happened? The man, I am Mara, watchman of the lake most high. He says, when the king asks, who are you? He says, I am Mara, watchman of the lake. King, Mara, how different are you now? You are now battered by this rain, with all your hair plastered on your face and all that water dripping down. So Mara is already drenched in the rain, so his hair was all covered his face, and then the water is dripping down. So the king could not recognize who Mara was, and then he says, what have you become? How different do you look? Okay, you are all drenched in the rain, your hair is also plastered on your face, and the water is dripping down. Mara, I beg your majesty's grace for bringing my presence here in state. I've come running, battling with roaring wind and through slush and ragging torrents. Forgive me, your majesty, I'm trembling with a message within me, may I utter it? He says, thank you for your presence, majesty, over here before me. I have come running, okay? I have had a difficult time with that wind there. The wind was roaring. I have to take myself into the wind, and I had to come through here. But forgive me, I have a message. Can I tell it? King, yes. My lord, it's about the lake. It's about the lake. I will feel faint to mention it. He says, I feel faint to mention it. I'm getting dizziness to mention it, but it's about the lake. King, oh, tell me what's happened. It is about to smash its bounds. Mara says, it's going to smash its bounds and we're not going to have it anymore. King, Mara, are you mad? Are you sure your mind is your own? He tells Mara, Maria, are you out of your senses? What are you talking? Mara. Your Majesty, till the evening there was no sign of a coming rain. It was a beautiful bright day, unruffled, the lake mirrored the blue sky on its bosom, but at dusk the sky darkened. I called my son in and shut the door of my hut. Raindrops baffled my roof. At midnight the wind rocked my hut. I got up and went out. My heart was disturbed. So what does he say? Till evening, there was no sign of the rain that was coming. It was a very bright day, no problem at all, no roaring wind like that, no breeze, no signs at all that such kind of a rain is going to fall at night. Then the lake was mirroring the blue sky. That is, it was so clear, crystal clear, I told you, it was very clear. But as it got into evening, the sky started to darken. I called my son, he says, I called my son in and then we shut the door. Then the raindrops started to fall on the roof. At midnight, the wind rocked my hut. Okay, that is, his hut was here and there. I think the roof went off, so he could not. I got up and went out. My heart was disturbed. Or rocked the hut is a shake like this. King. Oh, tell me, is the lake going to break? Mara. Your Majesty will know it presently. I rose from my bed and went out. Okay, so he says, you will know what I'm trying to tell you. I got up from my bed and I came out. I have never seen anything more terrible in my life, my lord. He says, nothing more terrible, nothing more bad than this in my life before. Veda was thundering down the mountain. The wind shook the earth. Okay, Veda had come down thundering. Veda was coming down, thundering down the mountain, and the wind was shaking all the nature there. I went to the edge of the water. The waves rose to a man's height and hammered at the bank. Okay. So the waves came up. If you go to the beach side, have you seen the waves falling down? They don't come up to a man's height on a regular basis, but most of the time when there is a high tide, they do take a big turn that is there. So here it came up to Mara's height, the water in the lake. The waves rose up to the man's height and hammered at the bank. They went and hit the bank. The water level was just a hair's breadth below the shore. So little difference, but the wave was very sharp. Any moment it may heave and flow over. So there is a bank, isn't it? Only little breadth of it, a hair's breadth in a gap was there. Otherwise, a little above than that, it's going to flow out of the bank. King, Mara, was the lake, what is to happen to all of us? Now the king is getting worried and he says, what's going to happen to all of us? Mara, I fell down and prayed. He says, I could not do anything, but I kneeled down. I fell down to the ground and I started praying. The goddess stood before me. Her tresses were wild. Her eyes gleamed with a strange light. She carried a sword in her hand and she had splashed her forehead with vermilion. Okay? And what's happening? When he started to pray, the goddess came and stood before her, before Mara. Her tresses were wild, okay, that's her hair locks that were there, were wild. Her eyes gleamed, her eyes were shining with strange light. She carried a sword in the hand. Now you have to remember the two different depictions of the goddess or avatars of the goddess. Splashed her forehead with vermilion, okay, red kunkuma that is there. Vermilion. I cowered at the sight of her. I was shocked to see her. Get up and hear me intently, she said. I am the goddess of the lake and that river Veda is my plaything. cut out of your hut at once. So she says, that river Veda is my plaything. I can do anything with that I want. Take out your hut at once. Mother, save me. What is going to happen? I asked. Mother, save me. What's going to happen? I asked. Just give me a second. I'll be back. Okay, moving on, we'll see. He has said now, Mother, save me. Okay, so what's going to happen? I asked. Then, I'm going to kick away the miserable stones you have piled up to imprison the waters of my Veda. I'm going to destroy your tank. Now, what does she say? The stones that you have put as banks of the lake there, I'm going to take away all those. You're not letting my water go away from those stones or from the compound like that is built. Okay, not letting my water go away. I'm going to destroy your tank. Mother, we put it up at your command, I said. Yes, and now I want to destroy it. It is my mood now. Veda is my plaything. I created it when I wanted it, and I will splash away its waters when I like. Who are you to stop me? She replied. So she was very clear, and she says, yes, that was my command. Even this is my command now. I can do anything that I want. It is my plaything. I can make it calm. I can splash the waters. I created it when I wanted it. Now I want to splash away its waters. So that's what I like. It's my mood now. King. Mara, are you speaking the truth? Mara. Your Majesty, may my son and wife perish if there is a word of untruth in what I am saying. So Mara says, let my son and wife die and go if there is even a bit of a word that I have told is untrue. Mara, king, go on with your story. Mara, I pleaded with her. I pointed out to her the vastness of the lake, the water stretching the length of the hill and going in a bend out of sight. The whole of it kept back by a bank, which would take a quarter of a day to cross. But all that she would say to it was, why do you make much of it? Alright, now what's she trying to tell him when he asked her, why is she doing that? Mara says, I pleaded, I asked her, I requested her, okay? And I told her how big, how vast the lake is, okay? The water. The water that is stretching is coming down from the length of the hill, and it is just going out of sight. It's just bending down, it's taking its forms. So everything is kept by the bank. If I have not constructed the bank, then the water would simply flow. We don't know where it would go, which would take a quarter of a day to cross. But all that she would would say to it was, why do you make much of it? So she said, why did you have to make all of this? I told her that all the water waited like a crouching tiger and would spring up on the 100 villages and towns and the king's capital beyond if the bank was removed. So Mara says, if there was no bank and if there is such a heavy rain and if the water splashes out, it is going to go to all of the villages and the king's capital alike. She laughed at it and flourished her sword. I pleaded with her for hours to spare us and have pity on us poor mortals. Mara says, I requested her a lot, I pleaded her a lot, but she would never listen. She took out her sword. I pleaded her to have pity on us poor souls. But she was not to be moved. She didn't move with her word. A most terrible and reckless mode of destruction seem to have come upon the goddess. Mara says, the goddess has taken a different form. She has taken a form of destruction now. I fell on the wet ground, prostrated before her and begged. Still Mara is begging. A poor mortal like me cannot stop you, O Divine Mother, but grant me this. I will run to the capital and inform the king and then return. Till then, stay at your hand. When you see me here again, you may carry out the devastation. So Mara says, now it's you, my mother. I cannot be doing anything with your way of destroying. I have only one request with you, Mara says. I will go and run to the capital. I'll tell the king about it. Till I return, please don't do anything to it. So she says, yes, I grant this. So she has granted Mara to go to the king's capital and come back. I will wait until you have told the king and returned, she said. Okay, very clear. And here I am, your majesty. So Mara says, see, I asked her, requested her to come and tell you. Now she has granted me this, that's why I am here. King, Mara, are you sure you saw and heard all of this? Mara, how can I prove it, my lord? Here you see the mud on my clothes. When I fell prostrate before the goddess, all this mud stuck to me. King, I dare not think. I don't know what to do. In a moment or less, I and this palace and my subjects, all right. Nothing so good as preparing for an end. Hey, call someone. Let an announcer go round with the beat of drums and announce to the people and to everyone in my kingdom that this is the last day of the world. The deluge is upon us. Tomorrow the sun will rise upon a lifeless land. So the king says, I'm not going to think anything ahead than this now. I don't know what to do. Everything can happen here and there if we take a sudden decision. So he says, someone go on announcing to all the people of my village that this is the last day of the world and tomorrow the sun will rise with no people around, a lifeless land, no life at all. Your Majesty, permit me to. King, tell me what you have to say. Mara says, I have a suggestion. Go on. The goddess will keep her word. She has promised to wait till she sees me back there. Make it impossible for me to return there, your majesty. So Mara says, see now I have told the goddess that till I come back don't do anything. Now he tells the king, do something so that I will not return back to the goddess. So if I don't return back, that means she will not do anything. Alright, continuing. How? If your majesty's sword is there. So he says, tells the king the suggestion that take a sword and actually kill me. King, no, what a horrible suggestion. He says, what a horrible suggestion you have given to take my sword and kill you. Mara. Or send for an executioner, my lord. He says, at least send someone who will just kill me off or chop my neck. My son is still sleeping in the hut. My last request is this. When I am gone, make him the watchman of the lake and after him his son and then his son's son to the last generation of our family. So Mara says now, my son is still sleeping there. The wife is away, isn't it? My son is still sleeping there. You kill me, but my only request is make my son the watchman of the lake and then his son until the last generation of our family. Okay, scene 5. In the front of the shrine on the lake, Ganga and his son. So Mara, they have killed Mara because they had to somehow stop this. Now Ganga and his son. Mara's son is Ganga, Ganga has a son. Okay, Ganga. Son, come here. And this son is Mara's grandchild. Son, coming father. Ganga. Where were you all this time? Son says, I was watching the gulls flying over the lake, father. How they skim and catch the fish. It is lovely to watch. Okay, those white color birds that are there. They come and they just go to the water, take the fish and go away. Alright? Not like a kingfisher as such, but they are there. Ganga. Well, didn't you know that this was the hour of worship at the shrine? So Ganga tells the son, don't you know it's time to go and pray now? The son says, Father, I forgot. Ganga. Don't forget again. That is all I can say. I will be very angry if you miss another worship. You are old enough to realize your duties, I think. I was less than your age when I was ordered to take my father's place. So he says, Ganga tells his son, I'll be angry if you miss the worship. You should know your responsibilities and duties by now. When I was less than your age, I was given a lot of responsibility, and I was ordered to take my father's place. That is, I was ordered to become the watchman of the lake. Even my mother was away somewhere. She was somewhere else. The last I saw of my father was when I went to bed. So he says, the last time I saw my father was the time when I went to bed. When I woke up in the morning, the hut had blown off and the lake was nearly rolling over the shore. So Ganga says, by the time I woke up, the hut which I was sleeping in had already gone. My father was not there, and then the water was rolling over the shore. And whom should I see as soon as I got up but the king? So the king has arrived at Mara's house at that time. He said to my father was no more and ordered me immediately to do my father's duties. So the king had come there, and he told Ganga that his father, Mara, is no more and he has to take on the duty of the lake. Soon after that, he built the shrine which looks over the lake, and on the day of dedication he was himself present. So now they have built a shrine there, and when they had to dedicate this shrine, the king himself was present. You see those two figures, son? The one on the top pedestal is the guardian goddess of this lake, and the one immediately below it is my father. So two guardians are kept. On the higher pedestal is the goddess, and below that is Mara, his father. By the king's order, worship is performed on the evenings of every Tuesday and Friday. Scores of people come from even distant towns for it. You must not miss a single henceforth. So Ganga is telling his son, so many people, thousands of people are coming here to worship on Tuesdays and Fridays. So worship is performed and I don't want you to miss it. Son, yes father. Ganga, good boy. When I am gone, you must watch over the lake, and after you, your son. Now come into the shrine and see the worship. So again, Ganga orders his son the same thing. When I am gone, or when you take it over, when you are gone, your son will take it over. So it will go on and go forth. Now temple bells are ringing at the time of worship. So there we end it. I want you to read the play again and understand. So this is a form of, you can take it like this, where the goddess was very good to him, and in the end, because Mara was a kind of taking everything, because of kind of selfishness or taking everything on his head, maybe that was the way it happened, okay, and the goddess got angry. So nature takes its own turn. That is how you can take the play to be. All right, thank you students for listening.